I'm just going to film a real quick video here so that you can access this video without having to watch the whole live presentation. So these are my binding strips. I have 2 of them here that I've cut, and I'm going to join them together, and I'm going to show you how I do that. To join my binding strips, I use the quick trim and circle ruler. Now, this is a ruler that I've designed for creative grids, and it has these 45-degree angle lines on it that cross at the 1/4 inch line. Now, it will do half square triangles, it'll do flank geese for you, it draws circles, it does lots of other things, but I also use it for my binding. So in order to trim my binding, you can cut through as many layers as you would like, take any line on the ruler, and Creative Grids has centering lines that are white. So since I'm working on a dark blue fabric here, I'm going to use the white line that's right there, and I'm going to trim off my salvage edges because, of course, we don't want those anywhere near our quilt, so we're going to get rid of those. Didn't sound like that cut right there. Okay. Now I'm going to turn the ruler on a 45-degree angle, and the 45-degree lines that are right there, they cross and form this little notch that's right here. So that's going to sit right on the corner of my strips. The corner of my strip is right inside that notch, and this line goes down the side so that I'm sure that I'm keeping everything straight. Now I'm going to trim the corner off. Most of you were taught that you lay one strip this way and one strip this way, and then you find that space in there and you sew that seam and see if it comes out straight. If you use the quick trim and circle ruler, they're already pre-trimmed, so they will come out straight every single time. So there's my 2 strips that are right there. So dog ear is gone. Now when I go to match this to the second strip, look, it's notched, it lines up perfectly every single time. My needle's going to go in right there where that point is, and it's going to come out right where this point is. When I sew that seam, this is going to be perfectly straight every time. Now, once you have them sewn together, you'll press that seam open. And when those seams are pressed open, then you'll press it in half. We press it in half like this so that these edges are perfectly even. If you're not quite straight, then your binding's not going to be quite even. This is the quilt that I'm going to put this binding on. But for demonstration purposes today, we're just going to work on the corner here. Now, I can start my binding anywhere along an edge, just not exactly in the corner, because we're trying to keep the bulk out of the corner. Now, somewhere along here, I have a joint, okay? It's right here. See, there's my seam in there, right? So I don't want that in the corner. So I pin my binding the whole way around my quilt, just to make sure that I can shift this one way or the other and not have those end up right in the corner, because it'll give me a nice smooth miter if they're gone. So let's just say I'm going to start right here. All right, I'm going to put a pin in here, and I would pin the binding on the whole way around my quilt. Now, you were probably taught to do this and then fold this down like this. And I think that's wrong. That is not the way I put my binding on. The reason is when you go up like this, if you're off a little bit this way or this way, then you're not going to have a perfect miter in that corner. So instead, work like this. Put your finger right here and fold it back on itself. Okay? So fold this back like this so that this folded edge is even with the edge of my quilt right there. Okay? So I'm going to put a finger crease in there, but I normally do this at my ironing board. Now we're going to turn it and fold it down like this along this edge. Now when you fold, that point and that point should meet and be perfect miter there. So put a pin in there. All right. So we're going to sew along here, and we're going to sew up to this fold right here. See how I can put my finger in there? We're going to sew up to that fold, back stitch, stop, and take it off your machine. Now, I have a perfect miter there because I can see it. Now, once this side is stitched down and you take that off, if your machine stitched onto the fold, snip that thread, okay? And then we'll reach underneath here, and now we're going to, this is what I call popping up a tent, and then push this up towards the top edge. Now, that's what it looks like when you fold up and fold down. So I see this as step 2, folding it back as step 1. Now I can start anywhere. I don't have to find that mystery fold underneath here. I can just start off of here and sew right onto here and sew the whole way around. All right? Now we're going to talk about how to end it. There are a couple different ways that you can end it. The easiest way is before you start, just fold this under, put a little press on there and fold it back up again. Trim that dog ear even, and now I have a finished edge. So I could take the next strip that would come the whole way around the other side. I would miter all 4 corners, and then I can just open this up and slide it inside there, and that would finish that off. Now, I'd trim my salvage edge, and I would trim this at an angle so that it would reduce the bulk, but you can just tuck it inside and be finished with it. And in today's live, I'll show you a little bit about how that would look if you did it one way or the other way. But you can also use the Easy Mitered or the quick trim ruler in order to join your pieces together. Let me grab my chalk marker here. What we're going to do is this would be pinned along here. So let me pin. And it would be stitched down the whole way, and you leave opening ends. Okay, so don't sew these parts down. Start your sewing over here so that you have some room to work, because we're going to have to stitch these two together. And I know there's lots of instructions. Fold it back this way, fold it back that way, add a 1/2 inch or 1/4 of an inch here and 1/4 of an inch there. This is the way I do it. I've already got my dog ear pre-trimmed, and I've got my angle created for my seam. So open that seam up, and it's important that you open it up. Don't just lay it on top like this. You want to open this up and tuck this inside. All right, got it tucked inside there. Lay it down nice and flat, make it smooth. So this is the way I would want it to fit, okay? I don't want those little bubbles in there. I want it to fit like this, okay? Now I'm going to lay my ruler right against the angle that I have there. And I'm going to use whatever marker will show. I'm using a light blue chalk marker on this because it's dark fabric. So, see my 45-degree line? That matches this line right here. Now, instead of adding 1/4 of an inch to this piece and 1/4 of an inch to this piece, why don't I just add a 1/2 inch to this? It's the same difference, okay? So now I can open this up, and I want to add a 1/2 inch to there. So I'll take my ruler, and I will lay it down like this. Put that 45-degree angle line on the edge of my strip, and the 1/2 inch line on that blue mark that's right there. So that's my chalk line, so I know how much to add. And now, trim that off. And now these pieces are ready to be sewn together, okay? When I join them, and that's why you have to have a little bit of extra give in here. When I go to my sewing machine, that notched corner right there will line up right there. And I will sew these two together. We're using a 1/4 inch seam. Trim this dog ear, and then press that seam open. And this will be bound, and it will fit right back together again. So that's how you can join them using the quick trim and circle ruler and trim your pieces. And that's how I corner my binding.